Hi guys, it's Carlos the Ultimate Fitness Trainer once again, and thank you so much for watching the video. And today, here we are doing another video. Now, before we get going, I've had a lot of emails with a lot of requests about all sorts of different videos. Carlos, can you do a video for this? Can you do a video for that? Now, the guys that put the requests, just to let you know, I'll put it on a list, so I will be doing those videos. So don't forget that although I'm doing these videos about other things, I haven't forgotten about you guys, so I'll promise you that I will do those videos for you, so don't worry about that. Now, I've had a lot of requests about, do videos about low carbs, do videos about high carbs, do videos about how you keep the momentum going while you're dieting. I've had how do you deal with depletion in terms of carbs and everything else. How do you deal when you feel tired, and how you dealing basically with pre-contest diet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to condense all this sort of like information into one video. Okay, don't take me wrong. I mean, this video is not going to be the A to Z about how to get into top shape because there's loads of things to talk about. But what I'll do, I'll try to keep it quite sort of neat and condensed, but still informative for you guys and help you guys become the greatest versions in that aspect. So let's start. Okay, so when you're trying to get into pre-contest diets, obviously for the guys that are basically trying to compete, now don't take me wrong, this is for the guys that don't compete, this is good to listen to as well, because you start learning about how to create a better version of yourself. So pre-contest, before you get to pre-contest diet, before you even start talking about diet, make sure your training is spot on. Okay, so you need to make sure whatever you're doing in terms of intensities, in terms of volumes, in terms of rest times, in terms of tempos, in terms of all-round sort of structure has to be spot on. Okay, and that training needs to coincide or run parallel to the sort of structure of physique that you have. Okay, what I mean by that is there's no point you doing exercises that do not work for your physique. Okay, so it's very important for you to understand what you're doing in order to create a better you. Okay, the other thing is how you then analyze your physique. Are you doing the things you need to do in order to balance your physique? Because don't forget, getting on stage and looking good in the gym are two different things. Pretty much anyone that works hard enough is going to look good in the gym. Okay, but looking good on stage, it's a whole different ball game. I tell you, I've seen so many guys out there that look okay in a t-shirt and they go on stage, you know, they shouldn't have done it. Okay, so and don't take me vice versa as well. I've got guys that probably don't look great in the gym, and then they diet very hard and work very hard, and on stage they look amazing. So the guys that competed, they'll tell you. I mean, you gotta know what you're doing in order to get yourself on stage. Okay. Now the other thing is your diet. Obviously, make sure your diet is spot on. So what I mean by that is when you go on a pre-contest diet, obviously your macros need to be spot on. So the amount of calories, the amount of carbs, the amount of fats, the amount of proteins need to be spot on. Okay, now you're not going to be like a normal guy that goes to the office or has a job and goes out there and sits down and, well, I mean, as a job, I mean your normal job, he sits down and starts eating sandwiches and crisps. Look, you're kidding yourself. Honestly, you've got to really make sure that your chicken, turkey, organic if you can, your brown rice, your sweet potatoes, keep away from white rice and white potatoes and stuff like that. Sweet potatoes, your brown rice, your asparagus, your kale, your cucumbers, all alkaline sort of, your broccoli, all alkaline greens, basically are there for you. That's going to support you to do it. Even the water, I mean, you've got to go on to distilled water. And a lot of people don't understand this. They'll start drinking normal water. Normal water is acidic. It carries a lot of minerals, and then basically makes you basically look bloated. So what happens is with distilled water, it drags water away from your intestine, making you look a lot more tighter all around the body. So even drinking normal water will give you a hell of a difference in your physique. Now, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, you need to change it to turkey. Now, white turkey is a lot leaner meat than chicken and fish. So what happens is once that, obviously, taking turkey on, you'll see that your physique will change. You start to get a lot more drier, you start getting a lot more detailed, your physique will start getting a lot more specific to the competition sort of level. So that is so important to understand what to take. Now obviously I've talked about protein, I talked about carbohydrates, I've talked about calories. Now fats are really important for you when you're dieting. Okay, a lot of people out there, they start just talking about loads of protein, loads of carbs, or low carbs, but forget about fats. So fats are very important for you, not only to help you burn fat, believe it or not, but very important to keep your immune system strong and also healthy. The last thing you want is become ill while doing a diet, so you've got to make sure your fats are there. Lots of the likes of omega-3, 6 and 9, cod liver oil, udo oils, avocados, they've got to be there. Obviously your nuts there, almonds and stuff like that are fantastic. Hazelnuts and stuff like that can be fantastic as a snacks. They will keep your fats high, because obviously you need those fats to keep you alive as well. You need those fats to keep you strong. So they are fantastic. So you need to make sure those things are in place. Now the other things as well, and believe it or not, I'm not doing this video, I'm not treating you like a client, so I'm not going through every single thing, so I'm just giving you some ideas here, okay? So I don't want you to think, right, obviously, if you take these ideas, it's going to help you anyway, but I'm not looking at you as an individual, so I'm just talking in general, okay? Now, the other things as well is supplements, okay? When you're competing, if you're going to obviously do it naturally, as I do, you need to take a lot of supplements. Now, what I mean by supplements is, for the first stage, obviously creatine is essential, but then when you start pre-contest, you need to take your creatine away, because what creatine does, which a lot of people don't realize, is creatine increases your muscle cell. So what it does is, as it increases your muscle cell, drags water into the muscle cell, which is the myofibrils. So as it does that, it will make you look fuller. Okay, it'll make you look fuller, you look bigger, more muscular, more toned. However, it gives you that kind of beefy look. Now, taking the creatine away, what it does is it gives you a little bit more drier sort of look, which is, to be fair, on stage, it's needed. Okay, especially if you do muscle modeling and bikini model, and if you do obviously all sort of other fitness competitions, there's that kind of drier look is a lot more sort of, if you like, tone look is a lot more sort of congratulated, if you like. So they look a lot more for those things, okay? Now, glutamine is essential. So while dieting, glutamine is spot on, because glutamine is going to support your muscle growth, and it's going to support your anti-catabolism hormone to be released. And as you're dieting, your cortisol levels are high, because you're training hard, you're probably stressed out as well. So glutamine will help you, okay? Now, vitamin B6, B12, you've got to take those, okay? Lecithin, you've got to take those. Vitamin D, extra vitamin C, you've got to take those things, because you've got to come away from dairy. So you're not going to be drinking and eating dairy, because if you do, you ain't going to be dieting for long, because you're going to look like shit, okay? So dairy comes away when you're dieting to get on stage. So milk, it's gone, okay? So you've got to take vitamin D tablets to obviously support your calcium intake. I'll do a video about all these sort of supplements and gives you a little bit more idea of what you need to take and dosages and everything else like that. So for the guys that want to get into a little bit more detail, I'll do that. But so vitamin D is very essential. Vitamin C, extra vitamin C is good, because it's going to strengthen and support your connective tissue and also your immune system, and it's going to give you that kind of drier look as well. A bit of a debate, because a lot of people advise me, a lot of guys, to take a lot of vitamin C. I'm not going to tell on this video how much you need to take, depending on how much you weigh. So I will wait until I do another video and talk about vitamin C. But vitamin C is essential. At least 1 to 2 grams a day is essential, depending on how big you are, and obviously female or male, obviously that depends. Multivitamin minerals is essential. You need to take that as well. And you need to make sure you take iron isotol. Obviously, that's another supplement you need to take. Magnesium, which is absolutely essential while you're dieting. So it's very important that your magnesium levels are high while dieting, because it puts a lot of pressure on your immune system. Now, the other things as well, obviously, is L-carnitine that needs to be taken in order to burn a lot of excess body fat. And now we enter the fat burners, okay? Now, fat burners, I'm sure you guys that are probably watching this video probably Googled it, and you probably seen on Instagram or on YouTube people selling all sorts of fat burners and claiming to have the best fat burner out there. So look, this is what I do, and if you don't want to take my word for it, I'll do my own research. Now, I know 2 or 3 brands that are pretty good, which is I've used myself, and they are good for me, okay? I'm not sponsored by them, I use them, and I've basically, they're giving me some sort of like goals and sort of results. So I use them, but I'm not gonna say to you that all of them are good, because a lot of them are shit. So be careful with the basically fat burners you're using. Now, if you go on to obviously anabolics, that's another whole different sort of structure, whole different sort of video. So I'm not talking about that now. It's all about El Natural, all natural. So we're not talking about this sort of stuff now. So that is in terms of supplements. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to talk about is the high and lows. Okay. I've been asked to talk about high and lows. Now, highs. How high do you feel when you're dieting? Okay, I'll tell you one thing is very high when you're dieting, and from my experience, what I've found was you look amazing. Okay, so I give you an example. You go in the gym, you are with your vest, or for the girls, like you got tops or belly tops or whatever you wanna wear, and you are ripped. Okay, so people notice you. Although some people kind of get that kind of glance, you know, they've clocked you, but they're not looking at you anymore. But they are looking at you, believe it or not. Once you turn your back, they're bloody staring at you. They're like, you know, so you look good, and people, don't take me wrong, it's fantastic, because I love to see people actually come up to you, or in other words, when I see people looking good, I go up to them and say, listen, you're looking fantastic, great effort, because I know what it takes to get to that sort of shape. So it's great, people are looking at you. I mean, if you go on, like, if you go to the shopping center and you are in a vest or a t-shirt, people are going to look at you, because people admire that, whether they like it or not, whether they're going to call you a bitch or a bastard, or he looks so good, whatever. It's gonna be haters. They are gonna think, you know what, I wish I could look like that. And some people are gonna say, fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So that's a high, and you're gonna feel amazing. You are gonna feel amazing. It's a great feeling. It really is a great feeling. There's a lot of other highs, but that is probably one of the main ones. You go in the gym, you get pumped, you look amazing, you feel like God. But there's lows. Okay, the lows are you feel tired, really tired. Obviously your mood kind of changes slightly. Now why, I mean, this is another video I'm going to do. Why does your mood change? Okay, I don't want to go too much about it. As you guys know, I do a lot to do with coaching and psychology. Now, when you're dieting, what happens is your serotonin levels drop. Okay, serotonin levels are basically the good feel hormone, not to overwhelm too much information in what the chemicals in the brain, but what it does is serotonin levels are basically responsible for the mood of a human being. So when you start dieting, what happens is your mood drops because your serotonin levels drop. So obviously because your calories is dropped, your glycogen's drop, so the energy levels are very low. So what happens is this, a lot of the times you find that you may feel really moody. Okay, you're low on energy, you don't want to talk to anybody, and that can be a massive low. Okay, now things that happen to you that never used to bother you now. I'll give you an example. I'll give it, and this is something that is quite funny. I mean, it was definitely funny. He wasn't funny then, but it was quite funny when I actually look back. I remember that obviously when I was my last diet, I was depleted to get to like the condition I got with that sort of like nearly 4% body fat. My abs were ripped. Okay, and I remember I was on the last week, 6 days to go, I was on a countdown, so I began to kind of almost drop in my water a little bit, and I was really tired, and I just finished the workout, and I remember my treat for Friday, and he might say treat, and he couldn't laugh, was an apple, because obviously when you diet and sugar, you've got to be careful with sugars, and obviously as you know, fructose, so it's got simple sugars, and my treat was an apple, and the green apples, and I washed the apple, I cleaned the apple, and I got in my car. And it was the summer, I got the windows down, and I was so looking forward to have that apple. And what I did, kind of like, I wasn't on the phone, I come out of the gym, got in the car, started the car, and off I went, start reversing. There's a guy in front of me, right? And I said to him to go, and he said, no, I can go. And I said, no, so you go, mate, because you're first. So I tried to allow him to go. And all of a sudden, he said, no, you go. So as I went forward, it literally drives the car in front of me, and I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing? But and I thought, what the fuck? My apples literally flew out the window. And I tell you what, and people that know me, I'm quite a down-to-earth guy, but kind of like I can flip. And literally, I got out of the fucking car, And I was literally trying to chase this guy. This little guy is driving off because there's a bit of traffic. I was chasing this guy off, and he seen me. Obviously, I was in the vest, and I don't want to be big-headed or I'm some sort of hard guy or whatever. But I'm literally chasing this guy. He just shit himself. He literally overtook everyone. He flew off. And I thought to myself, halfway through, I'm thinking, fuck me. You know, I lost the bloody plot. And normally I'd probably just say, oh, fuck off, you know, or let him go. But I lost it. I completely lost it. Because obviously my glycogens are low, so your mood has changed. So that could be a massive low. So I'm not saying that you're going to be like chasing people down the road after people when you dropped your apple, but that's what I did. But that's one of my lows. And that's something like, I laugh now, but at that time I wasn't so happy. But it is what it is. Now, the other thing is like carb depletion. Okay, some of the guys ask me, carb depletion, how do you feel, how do you do it, Carlos? Now, you've got to be careful with this one, and this is you can speak to anyone that is very experienced on this thing. Now, you've got to be careful on carb depletion. Now, what I mean by that, some of the guys probably don't understand this, because they've never done it. You only understand it when you do it, okay? Carb depletion. Now, if you deplete your carbs today, okay, people might think, oh yeah, I know what it is. I deplete my carbs and then I increase my carbs. Okay, look, that's not carb depletion. What it is drop your carbs down. Now, carb depletion is what bodybuilders and muscle models and people that compete do in order to look very dry on stage. Okay, now, when you deplete your carbs, your glycogen levels decrease. Now, depending on your metabolism, depending on your genetics, different people work differently with carbohydrates. So I give you an example. If you are from the south hemisphere of the world, meaning that you are from like South Americas, Latins, like for instance, I'm Latin, I'm half Portuguese, half Italian. People that are like from the south hemisphere, and you might do your own research, you'll see, we produce a lot more insulin levels, okay? You might ask the question why that is. A lot to do with the warm climates, okay? And a lot to do with genetics, just the way it was. And obviously there's a lot more to do it. Some people think it's to do with the climate, some people it's to do with genetics, something to do with also our ancestors. But anyway, we produce a little bit more insulin than an average person. Now, people from the north hemisphere produce less insulin because the northern countries are a lot more colder. So hence the reason why people in the north tend to eat a lot more. Anyway, now if you carb deplete and you're from the north, what happens is your carbohydrate insulin levels, as you guys know, when you eat, your body literally releases a powerful hormone, which is insulin, in order to be able to digest your food. Now what happens is everyone's carbs release insulin is going to be different. So you've got to be very careful. One, when you do it. Two, how you do it. Three, what you're going to do it with. Okay, now what I mean by that is depending on the amount you do it, depending on what you do it with, when you do it, it can change your physique completely. Now I'll give you an example. A friend of mine competed, okay, about 2 years ago, right, and he looked pretty good. I helped him all the way through, and he basically got an idea of a friend of him that was a bodybuilder that he should basically carb up on McDonald's. Now, for the guys that don't know about this sort of like stuff, like ignore this sort of information, okay? But if you are into this, what happens? A lot of people can get on with McDonald's just before the competition, because what it is, when I mean McDonald's, I don't mean like the fizzy drinks and everything else. Just a Big Mac, if you like, because there's a lot of salt and sugars in between. So the sugars, the salts, the chemical reaction, and obviously the bread, believe it or not, it increases your insulin like crazy. So what it does is you're gonna look fuller, very veiny, very ripped. And believe it or not, I've done this myself, not for my last competition, but the competition before, 2 weeks prior, just to try it. And I tell you, I was with my little boy Roman on the basis ball on McDonald's, and I had that just to try it out, just to see how my body reacted. And I tell you, there was veins popping out from everywhere. It looked as if I was literally doing a chest workout. So it works for me amazingly well. But this particular guy, he did it, and the next morning, he couldn't see his abs. He was literally a layer of fat in water, obviously not fat, because fat will not grow so fast. But the water retention was so great that he lost his ab structure. And it's a shame because he worked very hard to get to that stage. So when it comes to carb depletion, That's another video I'm going to do for you guys. You got to be very, 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 very careful what you do with in terms of what food you do with. Some people do it with sweet potato, some people do it with brown rice, some people do it with rice cake, some people do it, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, I did it with rice cakes in Nutella and peanut butter, just to carb up slowly, because I was very careful. In several competitions I've done with sweet potato, a bit of banana, and to be fair, believe it or not, in all of them I looked a little bit different in all of them. I couldn't really tell you what was the best one, because it's so hard to do it, because depends how much you weigh, depends when you've done it, depends how you train, depends on your car. So, you know, sometimes I believe I got better and better and better. I think I did, but some critics might say something else. But that's carb depletion. Now, feeling tired, you've got to make sure you literally balance your calories and your training session. So when you are depleting, remember, you're not going to build any muscle. So you are literally building the foundation. So you've built the foundation, you are just structurizing your foundation. So it's almost like call it tidy the house. So you're just keeping all the muscles all tidy, you're refining the muscles, you're cutting the muscles a little bit more, designing, almost sculpting the structure, and you're dieting down and you're bringing in the details. So you're gonna feel tired. So make sure you reschedule or schedule your training sessions according to the calorie that you're taking on some days. Leave the big heavy lifts for days that you're having a little bit more carbs. Don't play with it, because if you start changing too many variables, I always say this to my clients, and the best way I can tell you is, when you're dieting, keep the variables managed right. So if you drop your carbs, only drop one thing. Don't drop carbs, fats, proteins. Increase your training, increase your activity, start doing more things, because then you don't know what's actually working. So when you do it, just do, and take it from me, I'm not just telling you, you can speak to any professionals out there. Just do it one thing at a time, because if you do it one thing at a time, you know what's working, and then you can analyze it. Whether it's the cardio that you need to do more, whether it's the carbs you need to drop, whether it's the protein you need to increase or drop, or fats up or down. It's a lot easier that way. So I hope this was informative for you guys. I'm sure some of you guys will probably ask me a lot more questions. I'm more than happy to do that. So I'm here to help you guys. As you guys know, I'm here to help you guys become your greatest versions while becoming my greatest version. And with all that said, guys, you know where to find me on Carlos Trainer 10 on Instagram, on Carlos Trainer on YouTube, and also my website, ultimatefitnesstrainer.co.uk. And with all that said, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay fit. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Bye now.